Good morning, family. Good morning on this Friday. Good morning on this Faith Forward Friday. Good morning on this Faith Forward Friday. This morning, I just want to share an inspirational message that is geared around our faith. Hebrews 11:6 says it is impossible to please God without faith. It is impossible to please God without faith. So for those of us that love God, that serve God, we have to ask ourselves, are we willing to go the extra mile with Him? Are we willing to trust Him with the small, with the medium, with the large? Are we willing to trust Him and have faith in Him with the things that seem impossible, with the things that seems like they will never turn, with the things that are frustrating, overwhelming us, the things that are beginning to just tear us apart, the things that seem so dominant, the things that just seem, just with a lot of us, the things that have just placed us in a hopeless spot. Are we willing and do we trust God enough to trust Him with those things? The family ships, the relationships, the marriages, the friendships, the finances, the health situation, the child that has strayed away, the co-worker or the supervisor that is just on our back and won't let up, the thing that we find ourselves stuck in, that we know we need to let go, but it's just hard. It's just difficult. It's just a high level of temptation, that stronghold that is on our life, that curse that is on our life, that cycle that we've been in for years, that has us in a place to think, thank you, Holy Spirit, that level of comfort that we are dealing with, the fear that is inside of us, the doubt that is inside of us, that keeps us from getting to the point where we begin to establish a better faith journey, that we begin to dive and thrive into this thing called faith, that we believe that He can do exceedingly abundantly above all, that we believe that no situation is too huge, that it's too large, that it's too out of whack for Him to come in and to do the impossible, that He has control to turn everything for the good, that everything will end up working together for the good if we trust Him, if we believe Him. This morning, do you trust God? Do you give Him the issue? Do you give Him the problem? Do you give Him the situation, the circumstance that you're dealing with right now as I'm speaking? Are you willing to give Him 100% of that situation? Not the one that doesn't bother you that much, that's easy to let go. I'm talking about the one that disturbs your spirit, that disturbs your mind, the one that disturbs your soul, the one that disturbs your emotions, the one that disturbs you mentally. Will you give Him that issue and trust Him to turn that thing completely around? Let me share with you two things on today. Our faith builds a great foundation within our relationship with God. Our faith builds a great foundation within our relationship with God. And then number two, the breakthrough that is tied to our situation is also tied to our faith. The breakthrough that is tied to our situation is also tied to our faith. Increase your faith journey. Trust God with everything. Commit, dedicate the effort, dedicate the time, build that intimate relationship with Him. Come out of your comfort zone and be willing to release the fear step by step, to release the doubt step by step and trust him with that thing that is disturbing you right now as I speak. Give him that thing. Let him show you that he can do the impossible in that. And I promise you, when you give him the situation that you was holding on to and that you doubted him so much in, and he begins to shift that thing and transform it into something new, it's going to change your whole perspective of faith. It's going to change your whole perspective of faith. So I challenge you on this morning to give God the issue, the circumstance, the situation that you've been holding on to, the situation that you have tried over and over again to solve. You've done everything. You've exhausted your options. And let me be the one to tell you, the reason why it hasn't worked out is because you've been doing it the wrong way. The reason why it haven't worked out is because you have not given God control, complete control. You have not put him first. And you are not willing to sit, listen well, and allow him to lead you and guide your steps. When you do that, as you are sitting, build an intimate relationship with him. As you are sitting, begin to implement new things to build your faith journey. As you are sitting, begin to reflect and wait on him. I promise you, in life there are times when God requires us to be still. He needs you to be still so that you can listen. Sometimes we're moving, task after task. God is trying to show us things and we miss it because we're constantly moving. God needs us in a quiet, still spot so that he can begin to clarify and confirm and begin to download in us the discernment so that we recognize what the Holy Spirit is trying to get us to understand, so that we can begin to see things through a new lens and our perspective will change and our faith journey will increase. There's a process, yes, but we also have to dedicate the effort that's needed. We can't expect God to show up and not do nothing. We can't expect God to turn it for the good. We can't expect God to do the impossible, and we're still carrying on the same way. If we're asking him to show up, if we're praying for change, then we also have to change. And we also have to develop new character, new responses, new actions. That requires new environments. That requires new connections. That requires new faith. That requires a new mindset. That requires a new heart. That requires us to get our emotions together. Sometimes that requires isolation, separation, division. And again, trust God, because the separation and division is not always supposed to be permanent. But if you trust him and you're able to trust him with the things that he tells you to let go, I promise you, when those things come back, the way he will define them will blow your mind. So on this morning, I want to just encourage you to trust God with the hugest, with the biggest, with the most difficult, with the darkest thing and heaviest thing in your life, and watch him show up and do the impossible as you continue to put him first. You continue to let him guide your steps, and you continue to build your relationship with him and go strong in your faith with him. Be blessed. I love you. And until next time, be safe.